Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 36 of the In From Japan podcast, the podcast where we talk about the latest news on Japan-developed games and other things in relation to them. Available on Spotify, Podbean, and YouTube. As always, I'm your host, Errol Moss, with my co-host, the phenomenon from Suriname, Jason Corder.
Hey, hey.
And we're going to start, like we always do, with the Japanese games we've been playing. So, unfortunately, I've actually been kind of burnt out on video games in general, so I haven't been playing that many games, particularly Japanese games too. I haven't really been, besides Captain Tsubasa, I've been messing around with a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So I tried the new hero story mode, which is the one where you create a character, and it's not like, it's kind of its own story. It's not based on the series. Well, it is based on the series, but it's not like following the story of the series exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And it's still a difficult game for me. Luckily, I don't find it as hard as the Tsubasa story mode, which is funny because it says you should do the Tsubasa story mode first before doing New Hero. But I think that's more so you know how stats and everything works and stuff, because of how you level up your characters and give them different moves and stuff. But it's funny because I'll manage to win a game, and you only have to win a game by a point. Like, you get bonuses if, depending on the game, you'll get a bonus if there's, a 2-score diff if you win by 2 points or 4 points or whatever, but you only have to win by 1. Oh. So I've just been barely scraping by in that so far.
Okay. I'm curious. Have you played either the FIFA games or the PES games before?
I played FIFA World Cup 2010.
Okay, do you remember anything of your brief time with FIFA 2010?
The soundtrack. The soundtrack?
But, okay. Moving on. With regards to the gameplay in Captain Tsubasa, does it get tiring? Having... How do I phrase this? The animation kind of being on turned up to dial 11, and with the special attacks back and forth between the teams.
No, it gets annoying when that keeps happening and they keep trying to score a goal, and they keep taking the ball from me when I'm actually doing well, and I'm like, this is a 1-star difficulty. Why are these people so difficult?
Okay, because what I'm wondering is if the fundamentals of the football or soccer, whatever you want to call it, is good enough to stand on its own legs without the super duper anime attacks.
I don't know. I'm not that experienced with sports games, unfortunately.
Okay.
I still like it. I just need to get used to it. I've been looking at threads for advice, but then the advice has been all over the place. So
okay, now I have to test it for myself and see if it's actually just difficult. Because I haven't heard anyone else mention the difficulty in.
Yeah, same. So I'm like, am I crazy? Should I be doing a different controller layout? What am I doing wrong?
Are you playing it on
it's
Switch
just so weird
or PS4?
No, PS4.
Oh, okay.
PS4.
I thought maybe if you had it on Switch and maybe if it had motion controls, that would be easier for you. But I'm not experienced enough. Maybe I'll just buy it on Switch and see if...
I don't think it even has motion controls.
Okay.
But yeah, otherwise, it's not a Japanese game, but I have been playing a little bit of Nexomon, the first one.
Do you think it's a worthy...
And I think Nintendo really does not care how blatant of a ripoff a game is unless you use the name of their franchise.
Well, how much of a blatant ripoff, or let's not call it a ripoff, because that's it's not a... Okay, I don't want to say, I don't like saying ripoff, but, when it's obvious, it's... the Pokeballs are triangles, but they're still Pokeballs. They still have Pokemon centers. They look the same, but instead of a Pokeball, it's a Nexo Trap, which is essentially what the Pokeball of that universe is. You could extend that to any Mon game. the cards contain contain the monsters. The tops contain the Beyblades and etc etc etc.
No, but this is literally the same layout as a Pokemon Center.
Okay, does it hinder the gameplay, or is it?
No, it's basically like if you like Pokemon but you want to play like a kind of older Pokemon experience, yeah, you can play Nexomon. Although it is a little grindy, and I'm only playing it so I can play Extinction, which came out this year, and I'm playing Nexomon on PC, and I would probably get Extinction on Switch so I could like play it while watching TV or something.
Okay. Having played it, do you think Nintendo
and the names are not great either.
Come again?
The names. Most of them are not that great.
No, I was gonna ask. Having played it, do you think Nintendo can glean some inspiration for their own titles, or do you think whatever
I'm not sure they're even paying attention half the
is
time.
Good enough?
I'm not sure they're even paying attention. They're like, oh, you have a game that's kind of like Pokemon, but it's not, and you don't use the Pokemon name? Yeah, we'll put it on Switch.
No, I don't mean if it's not a question if Nintendo is paying attention. It's a question of, do you think Nintendo can look at Nexomon and see ideas they might want to
I don't
implement?
I don't think Nexomon has anything. I don't think Nexomon has anything really that would help improve Pokemon much, because it's based off of older Pokemon titles primarily, except for maybe story-wise. But just because the way the gym leaders in Nexomon work is like they're like all part of the they're kind of all part of this. They all work for this guy called the Nexo Lord, who is like the villain of the game, and it's kind of like how, I don't know if you've ever read the Pokemon Adventures manga, but like most of the gym leaders were like bad guys. So it's kind of like that. It seems to be inspired by that.
Okay.
Like they could with how the story is in this one, and I don't know the story of Nexomon Extinction, but it seems like a similar tone. I feel like Nintendo could take stuff from that. Learn some lessons from that. Like, but otherwise, no, I don't think.
Okay. All right.
And the best Nexomon name I found so far, because most of them are not that great in my opinion. The best one is Onslaucerus.
That's kind of dark, but okay.
He's a big rhinoceros.
Yeah. So that's all you've been playing this week?
I mean, I've been playing other stuff, but it's not really relevant to even Nexomon isn't that relevant in my opinion, but I've just been a little burnt out on games lately. Everything comes out, and after Fairy Tail, which we'll talk about later.
Okay. All right.
But yeah.
Let's see. I have been playing Atelier Ryza, though I think I'm close to giving up on it, because it is charming. It is mechanically sound. The combat is fun, if maybe over too quickly or either too difficult. But yeah, I'm just missing that forward momentum, that thing that pulls me from plot point to plot point. Because now it's just, hey, I have a task for you to do, because I think it's interesting. It's like, okay, sure, I guess I can do it. I have some time to kill, but there's no real need to go from plot to plot yet, and it's kind of annoying, to say the least. I'm not saying it's a bad game, and I'm not saying people who are looking for kind of a chill time, like say Animal Crossing, wouldn't find something to enjoy here, but I don't know, man. Maybe it's just not matching up to what I like in terms of gameplay and story. Next to that, I've been playing Sakura Wars on PS4, which I adore. But if I'd had to knock anything against it, it'd be that I think the battles are a bit too easy and not strategic enough, which is strange considering the history of the Sakura Wars franchise. So if they ever did a sequel or an expanded edition or DLC, I'd like to have some more strategy or tactics involved in the battles, or tweak the difficulty so that it feels challenging enough. Because besides that, you have a pretty chill story with colorful characters and gameplay elements that are akin to what you would have found in Fire Emblem Awakening with terms of romance and conversations. So that's kind of fun. If you're into that sort of thing, you'll find enough to like here. So I think any replay value might be from chasing down different romantic partners. But yeah. Yeah, so it's really fun, especially the tete-a-tete scenes. That's where you have a one-on-one conversation with the other romantic leads in the game, and then you choose how you approach the situation. Are you going to be forward, or are you going to be a bit more formal? On what details are you going to pay attention to? What details are you going to use in the conversation? That kind of thing. So it's kind of a more personal feeling game than, say, Mass Effect with regards to the conversations. Next up, I've also been playing Takeshi and Hiroshi, which is an indie game that originally was on Apple Arcade, I'd like to say, but it's now on Switch. It's a really interesting game. It's old school dungeon crawler RPG-esque thing where you have to take care of, let's see, your fear meter. Is it your fear meter? Well, yeah, let's compare it to what's the game called? Darkest Dungeon, where you have to pay attention to your stress levels, your attack levels, how much HP you have, and in this game you choose
so Darkest Dungeon, not Dandy Dungeon.
No, not Dandy Dungeon. The Darkest Dungeon, if you have any familiarity with that series, but it's kind of like that. It's fun, but it's kind of samey because it's a very short game, and these gameplay snippets are like 4-5 rounds in length, and you have to reach a certain milestone within those 5 rounds. If not, then you have to start all over again or quit. But that's where the gameplay ties into the story, because Takeshi and Hiroshi is about 2 brothers, and the younger brother has fallen ill because of his asthma, I'd like to say, which is kind of a very harrowing thing these days if someone falls ill. So it might be a bit too much if you've experienced that yourself or with a family member these days. But it's a charming story, and the gameplay is, or I should say the story elements then, are told through stop motion animation. So it has this very interesting combination of watching stop motion anime and then that being complemented with Darkest Dungeon-esque RPG mechanics. And the point of...
I like when games do like an art style that's not necessarily the norm.
Yeah, it's very different and it's very refreshing. I hope to see more games take inspiration from this. But what I was leading into was that the point of the gameplay is you have to entertain your little brother, keep him happy, but challenged enough that he doesn't feel bored, or that you're giving him kind of a free pass in the game. So it's a very interesting game. It's short-ish, I'd like to say 2 to 5 hours. So it's more.
Oh, so you already finished it?
No, I haven't finished it yet because I just got Dead Cells on my Switch, so that's where I've been putting most of my time. And lastly, I want to mention that I started replaying Tales of Crestoria on my new phone, and it's running buttery smooth, no hitches, no dips, and I'm like,
because they fixed a lot of bugs too.
No, it's not about the bugs. It's more about the phone that I'm rocking now, which is the OnePlus 7T, and the performance is amazing. So I'm kind of itching to try other graphics-heavy games or games I've been missing. But yeah, that's
you know what else is on mobile?
There are a lot of RPGs, especially gacha.
I was gonna say Monster Hunter Stories.
Yeah, I've been looking at Monster Hunter Stories, but the file size is about 4 gigabyte, and that's a hefty chunk of game.
It's worth it.
I mean, it might be worth it, but if
it's also $20, but there are also plenty of free good games you can play that are like Restoria, like Dragon Quest of the Stars, and
I know
the Final Fantasy one that I forget the name of.
But in terms of Monster Hunter Stories, I looked it up on Amazon, and it's pretty cheap on 3DS, so I might just do the 3DS route if I ever get a 3DS.
Do you still have access to the eShop?
Yeah, I still have access to the eShop. I mean,
yeah, so you can also download it digitally there.
Sure, but I don't have a 3DS at the moment, so I wouldn't.
Well, it sounded like you were planning.
No, I said if I ever go down the 3DS route, it's available there, and I wouldn't have to.
We did have a poll. We did have a poll a couple weeks ago on the Twitter page,
but
and an overwhelming amount of yes. I mean, only 3 people voted. But
I mean, it
2 to
counts.
1.
It still counts. But if ever I get a 3DS, I think I'll play Monster Hunter Stories there, because I don't want to fill up my phone with too much stuff. Because I'm pretty careful with those things. But yeah, that's all I've been playing this week.
All right. So moving on to the In From Japan J list, where we talk about recent video game related entertainment news. We have 4 stories for this section this week. First, we have Shenmue the Animation, announced by Crunchyroll and Adult Swim. 13-episode anime based on the Sega series. This is by Saruman of Regamatsu. Crunchyroll, in partnership with Adult Swim, has announced Shenmue the Animation, a 13-episode animated series based on the Sega game series currently in production at Telecom Animation Film, who also worked on Tower of God and Lupin the Third Part 5. Shenmue the Animation is directed by Chikara Sakurai, who directed Majimoji Rurumo and One Punch Man Season 2, and Shenmue creator and game designer Yu Suzuki will serve as executive producer on the project. Further details will be announced at a later date. So,
yay, I guess.
There you go, Shenmue fans.
I mean, maybe this will be more worthwhile than the event than the actual Shenmue 3.
Shenmue 3? Oh my god. Next story is Dragon Quest The Adventure of Dai anime begins airing October 3rd. New trailer and commercial release. This is once again by Saruman over Gamatsu. The Dragon Quest The Adventure of Dai anime series will begin airing on October 3rd in Japan at 9:30 a.m. JST weekly on TV Tokyo Network, Square Enix announced. The opening theme song, Ikiru wo Suru, is sung by Japanese rock band Macaroni and Pizza. Macaroni and Pizza.
That's a nice name.
Watch a new trailer for... Okay. And also, the day before that, Yashahime, the sequel animated Inuyasha, starts. So there's a fun fact for you.
Yeah, I've been... I just started Inuyasha. So maybe I'll just jump right into Yashahime.
Well, because the interesting thing about Inuyasha is that there's actually not that much filler. It's just really slow at some points. The pacing.
Yeah, I mean, I could just look up a filler guide and skip whatever's unnecessary.
Yeah, because there's not that much filler, at least compared to other things. Compared to things we have now, especially.
Yeah.
The next story is The Digimon card game will make its English debut in early 2021. This is by Kazuma Hashimoto for Silicon Era. The Digimon card game will make its English debut in January 2021. In commemoration of the debut, the official Digimon card game website has uploaded information about the upcoming special promotions and pre-sales. The Digimon card game Super Pre-sale will be held at the end of November, but will only be available to select stores. This will allow avid collectors and those interested in the card game to get their hands on the cards before they will be available to the general public. Items included are the Digimon card game Release Special Booster version 1.0 and Digimon card game starter deck Gaia Red, Cocytus Blue, and Heavens Yellow. The Digimon card game Release Special Booster version 1.0 will contain cards from the Japanese release of Booster Volume 1 to 3. The core set of the Special Booster version 1.0 also contains 7 Digidestined cards. The release date for this pack is January 2021 and will cost $3.99 per pack. So that's cool.
You're not to sound too excited.
Also, downloads for Digimon Adventure Last Evolution Kizuna will begin this month. I did not know that. Yeah, so I should get on that because I really loved the the last Digimon card game we had here I didn't play, but the first one we had here and the second one I played both of those, and those were both pretty fun.
I remember having the KFC collectible kids meal Digimon cards. But besides that,
were those the original Digimon cards?
I don't know. They were kind of not tin foily, like aluminum, or the case was aluminum.
They had like the back was blue and had Digimon on it. It said Digimon on it.
No. Those were the actual trading cards, but these were collectible cards from KFC. That came in like this giant Digivice, and then you can have like I think 3 in it.
I don't know if we got. I'm not even sure we got those here.
I have to look this up. If this was an actual.
I know we got Digimon plushies from Dairy Queen, and then we got the Pokemon Pokeball things from Burger King. That's what these sound like.
Maybe it was a Latin American thing, or a Caribbean thing.
Maybe.
Because I do remember.
And then the last story on the J list is first Final Fantasy trading card game boss deck arrives in March. This is by Jenny Latta for Silicon Era. Boss fights are coming to Final Fantasy trading card games. Square Enix revealed the multiplayer challenge boss deck Chaos, which will launch on March 5th, 2021. This is a multiplayer experience where between 2 and 3 players with normal decks will face one person using a boss deck. Final Fantasy trading card boss fight concept isn't new, as pointed out on the announcement page. People can fight staff in this format. This just allows people to do so on a personal level with an 80 card deck that is varying difficulty levels. Bosses like Final Fantasy's Chaos, Final Fantasy II's Emperor Matthias, and Final Fantasy III's Cloud of Darkness all show up as possible foes. As noted on the page, the as-is version of the deck could be used with people who would be considered beginners. However, you have the 17 extra cards you can pop in to adjust and alter the difficulty. I just thought that was a cool little thing. I haven't played this card game, but if they make like a video game out of it, I'll try it.
Yeah. Well, I just looked up the Digimon thing, and it might be that you guys had it with Taco Bell.
Taco Bell did have a weird selection of toys back in the day.
I mean, maybe. Who knows? I wasn't there.
Oh yeah, we did not have. I've never seen these before, but these are literally. Wait. It came with like a gold card. Oh no, it just has the Pokemon one.
It's that. Ignore that one, but.
Yeah, I'm like, wait, why is Hitmonchan in the?
Like okay. You had this colored Digivice, and then you had these tin aluminum cards that you could put into them.
Yeah, so it's kind of like the Pokeball Burger King one.
Probably. But I digress.
Alright, so next on this is recommended content. Content other than news from the past week listed out, links in the description. And we have a bit of a shorter section today, which is fine. Just not that many features this week. Or features and other things. So first we have Kamen Rider Memory of Heroes, Kamen Rider O's gameplay by Sao Romano over Gamatsu via YouTube. Kazutaka Kodaka on World's Ends Club name, Switch version, and more by Alistair Wong over Silicon Era. Kingdom Hearts Melody of Memory is a Disney reimagining of Theatrhythm by Matt Purslow over at IGN. 5 next-gen worlds to be excited about by Jason Guisao over at Game Informer. Streets of Rage's long relationship with real-world protest by Ken Macon over at IGN. And Nintendo Switch Imports Guide, the best Japan-only games to play by Graham Russell over at Michibiku. So next, it's time for the news rundown, and I decided to put something in the baddish news for Jason because he hasn't gotten to do that in a couple weeks.
Wow. I mean, I don't really agree that's baddish news, but we'll get to it.
Well, the ish is that's why it's the ish part.
Okay. Okay, I'll get to it now. The bad-ish news is... Wait, I have to accept cookies. Not real cookies, but website cookies. Nintendo's big Super Mario 35 plans may have been delayed by 5 months. This is by Ryan Craddock for Nintendo Life. As you'll no doubt be aware by now, Nintendo dropped a fast-paced, full-fat, Mario-themed Nintendo Direct last week to share its plans for our favorite plumber's 35th anniversary. In truth, it had been a long time coming, with rumors of Super Mario 3D All-Stars and other bits and bobs starting to appear as early as March. Now fans have discovered that a portion of Nintendo's official website, which has since been removed, details an event that was originally planned to take place inside Super Mario Maker 2 on the 14th of April, 5 months ahead of last week's 35th anniversary announcement. An archived version of the page can still be found here, and we've grabbed a screenshot for you below. So click on the article if you want to see the screenshot. But yeah, it's interesting, but we don't have any official confirmation that this was the case. So it might as well be an event in Super Mario Maker 2 that led up to the eventual release of the Super Mario Direct. Yeah, I mean, I think among the biggest gaming companies, Nintendo has been hit the hardest. Hence the kind of...
And people... Yeah. And I think it's kind of ridiculous that people are like, oh, Nintendo's having such a bad year. It's like, yeah, everybody was affected by, like, COVID. Like, people don't realize that Nintendo is very old school, so, like, more than we think sometimes.
And Nintendo hasn't even been having a bad year. Stealth
no
tweeted...
it's just because people are like, oh, if you're what was it that Imran said? He said something like, if you're only looking for if you're a hardcore Nintendo fan who is primarily looking for the big hitters, and like because you're not gonna really be if you're not into like Animal Crossing or Xenoblade or like third-party stuff, then yeah, Nintendo's having a bad year from your point of view, you know?
I mean, look, the thing is, you can't expect or keep expecting new big things, and at the same time keep expecting...
because games take time.
The old, great big things. Like, Nintendo is only so big that they can accommodate that many games. So they're gonna have to juggle, okay, what's relevant now, what might be relevant later, and what can we pull from our past. But having that said, Nintendo's having an excellent year. Animal Crossing is one of the best-selling games, if not the best-selling game this year. Nintendo Switch is the best-selling hardware of the year, and
Xenoblade sold really well.
Yeah, and Stealth on Twitter posted the 20 top-selling games on Amazon, and all of them are Nintendo games. So, if anything, Nintendo's having an excellent year. Better than excellent. Considering that we've all been waiting with bated breath for the next-gen prices, which Microsoft gracefully delivered us from. But you still have Sony withholding their price reveal, and couple that with nothing really happening on the current gen. And Nintendo has an excellent track record of delivering fun, and that's what people are looking forward to most these days, is fun and something to escape to. Yeah, Nintendo's having a great year, so if you can't reconcile that, it's kind of too bad for you, but maybe branch out into different things.
That's what I keep saying. Like, people are like, oh, these third-party directs have been bad. It's like, no, they haven't.
I mean, look, years ago there was this conversation with Colin, and I think it was Colin.
Oh, we don't talk about that.
It's still a relevant conversation. Colin was talking with Dave Lang, I want to say, from Iron Galaxies. Oh, no, it's not Dave. It's Adam Boyce from Iron Galaxies, I want to say. And the conversation was, why is Sony allowing these smaller scale games to flood the PSN store?
Oh, right.
Why not push the marquee titles, the first party titles, to the forefront and let people play higher quality games? And Adam Boy said, who are you to decide that? Who are you to decide what people will like? And who are you to decide who gets to publish their games? If we're going to be picking and choosing, then we're going to be stuck with the same games over and over again, and nothing new is going to come out of it. And I mean, just look at the indies. We have had so many great indies over the years, and if they never had a chance to shine, we would have never had our new favorite franchises. So your Super Mario today or yesterday could be someone else's great indie today. Like, maybe Shovel Knight is someone's favorite franchise now. Maybe Celeste is someone's favorite game of all time now. If you don't give something else a chance, you'll never know what you're missing. That's what I want to say.
Yeah. Like, people are always like, put it on Switch. And now that there are a lot of third-party games on Switch, like, oh no, there are too many third-party games on Switch. Like, no, you can't do that.
It's like, now I can't choose. Like, yeah, what did you expect that was going to happen? You wanted this.
Yeah. Like, look, Nintendo makes plenty of mistakes in other things, but I don't think this is one of them.
The only thing I could knock Nintendo for this year is not being transparent enough. By them saying, you know what, guys, we want to announce games, we want to update you on Bayonetta 3 or Metroid Prime Trilogy or Metroid Prime 4, but we don't have enough. We've been hit hard and we don't have enough to show you. Instead, we're working on other things to fill the void. So please be patient, and thank you for your interest. I mean,
I'm still curious if new Pokemon Snap is coming out this year. That never got a release date or year. It was just announced.
Well, Imran Khan, contributor for Kind of Funny Games Daily and Kind of Funny in general, said on Twitter this week or last week, it'd be surprising if Nintendo will be showing any other big games, maybe one more or two more big games, but you can count on this being their publishing calendar for the rest of the year. Because the Hyrule Warriors game was the one missing from November, and with that in place, the rest of the year is pretty much set. So yeah, I don't think
that still doesn't answer my question. That doesn't necessarily mean new Pokemon Snap isn't coming out this year. It would just be nice to get a confirmation of something.
Well, Nintendo's traditionally cagey, and I don't think you're gonna get your answer. There's a better chance of the next Kingdom Hearts game coming out.
Yeah. So first we have Kingdom Hearts Melody of Memory bundle will come with Kingdom Hearts 3 soundtrack. This is by Kazuma Hashimoto over at Silicon Arrow. Square Enix will be releasing a Kingdom Hearts Melody of Memory bundle that will include the Kingdom Hearts 3 original soundtrack. In addition to this, the special CD will be included with this purchase that will contain 2 songs from Kingdom Hearts Melody of Memory. Unfortunately, this offer seems like it is only exclusive to Japanese customers. The Kingdom Hearts Melody of Memory bundle will cost 7,480 yen, or roughly $70, and is scheduled to release on November 11, 2020. Additionally, those that purchase this limited edition will receive a special postcard with a message from series creator Tetsuya Nomura. The official page for this bundle mentions that this is a limited product. This means fans will want to upgrade to this version before it sells out. In order to upgrade to this version, Japanese consumers will need to have pre-ordered both Kingdom Hearts Melody of Memory and the Kingdom Hearts 3 original soundtrack. The Kingdom Hearts 3 original soundtrack includes tracks from Kingdom Hearts 3, Kingdom Hearts 3 Remind DLC, Kingdom Hearts HD 2.8 Final Chapter Prologue, and more. And then, regarding that, Kingdom Hearts director Tetsuya Nomura teases more to come for series' 20th anniversary. Plus, no specific plans for additional titles on Switch. This is by Saruman over Gamatsu. Kingdom Hearts director Tetsuya Nomura teased more Kingdom Hearts to come as the series heads towards its 20th anniversary in 2022 in a new interview published by Famitsu. He said, that being said, I'm working hard towards the 20th anniversary. I myself have switched to thinking about the next work, and the Kingdom Hearts team has already started working on something new. Kingdom Hearts Melody of Memory came just before we started working on the next title, so the main staff was able to assist. When we're able to announce something in the future, I think it will be full of surprises, so please look forward to it. Additionally, speaking with Nintendo enthusiasts, Nomura said that while the rhythm game Kingdom Hearts Melody of Memory is coming to Switch alongside PS4 and Xbox One, there are currently no specific plans for more Kingdom Hearts games on the platform. While Square Enix did consider porting existing Kingdom Hearts games to Switch, it was found to be technologically difficult. However, Nomura liked Switch and wanted to do something on it, which is why Kingdom Hearts Melody of Memory will be available on the platform. He also added that this does not rule out the possibility of future non-Kingdom Hearts titles by him appearing on Switch. World Ends With You sequel?
Don't hold your breath.
And that's it. So our friend of the show, Cameron Hawkins, has a huge Kingdom Hearts collection. He's probably the biggest Kingdom Hearts fan I know. He was showing it off on his Twitch channel. Check out the Cinephile guy on Twitch. But yeah, so more Kingdom Hearts news is always great, in my opinion.
Did you read the interviews about the story direction?
No, I didn't see those.
Okay, so Nomura said you might get some tidbits on where the future is going. You can get some closure with regards to Kairi's role in it all, but don't expect any big things. I'm guessing more in the vein of teasers to whatever's coming in 2022 for the 25th anniversary. Especially with regards to Yuzora, who people have been kind of clamoring for to be the next protagonist, kind of. But
well, Nomura said he'd be important, but he didn't say when.
Yeah, because I read the translated interview, and Yozora is more or less a translation of Noctis. So take from that what you will. I mean, Nomura keeps saying it's not versus 13, but all these hints are pointing towards versus 13. So I don't know. I'm throwing my hands up. I don't know. Okay. Next up, we have Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles Remastered is getting a slew of updates and fixes. This is by Nadia Oxford for US Gamer. Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles Remastered Edition is a disappointment. Square Enix made its multiplayer aspect online only, even though the GameCube original was crafted and sold as a robust local co-op experience. There are also myriad technical problems in some parts of the world. Bugs and server overloads have made it impossible for many players in Australia and New Zealand to play Crystal Chronicles Remastered online. Those of us who've been looking for a chance to finally experience this warm, whimsical game are now feeling a little cold and deflated. To Square Enix's credit, it's already trying to make things right. Earlier today, it published an apology and message that outlines the steps it'll take to make Crystal Chronicles Remastered more enjoyable. So that's in regard to the director commenting on the mistakes made and what changes they're going to implement. And this was on the 4th of September, if you're wondering when the apology came. But it's kind of disappointing that Crystal Chronicles turned out the way it did. But if Square can turn Final Fantasy XIV into a Realm Reborn and have a much beloved entry in the franchise, I'm pretty sure they can turn it around for Crystal Chronicles.
I mean, it was a much beloved entry in the franchise.
I mean,
it was just hard to play.
No, I'm talking to Final Fantasy XIV. That's a much beloved entry in the franchise now, with A Realm Reborn.
Oh, like that level? Yeah.
So I'm guessing if they can show that much love to Crystal Chronicles, it might also once again become a much beloved entry in the franchise. I think it was on the podcast where Nadia Oxford said, I'm talking about the Axe of the Blood God podcast, where she said that they might have originally made the mobile port and then made the mobile port work on the consoles, and maybe in that transition the multiplayer stuff kind of went all janky. But that's all speculation from the podcast, I guess. But who knows? Let's just hope they fix it. Okay, next up we have World's End Club Apple Arcade version ends on a cliffhanger. This is by Jenny Lada for Silicon Era. The World's End Club Apple Arcade version isn't entirely finished. Kotaro Uchikoshi, the game's writer, took to Twitter to confirm that the mobile version isn't complete. Rather, it is about 10 hours and ends on the cliffhanger as the Nintendo Switch version offering the complete story. And you can read the article for Uchikoshi's statement regarding to this. This is kind of disappointing, but not unexpected, at least not for me, because games on mobile have been getting kind of these batches of chapters and not the full game. I mean, if you look at Regalia Lost or Tales of Crestoria, you're getting kind of episodes and not the full story in one hit. Maybe it's their way of keeping you hooked and securing you.
I'm just glad
to keep playing the game on mobile.
I'm just glad the Switch version will be the whole thing.
I mean, people would riot if it wasn't the whole thing.
It's just because Apple Arcade, being Apple Arcade exclusive, is such a weird thing to me. And it's already kind of a niche game anyway.
I mean, Apple is looking to get people to play their game on their game service.
I know, but it's just a weird. I just wonder how well it's even gonna do on there.
Okay, what would you have rather on Apple Arcade then?
No, I'm not saying I'd rather. I'm just saying it's interesting that they made it Apple Arcade exclusive first.
Oh, I mean, the Sakaguchi game is also Apple Arcade exclusive.
Yeah, it's just still weird to me. I don't know anybody who has Apple Arcade.
I mean, there must be a bunch of people still out there because they still keep getting these exclusives, and these exclusives eventually make their way to other consoles and to the Switch. So it's not all bad.
Yeah. Next story is make more Rockman details revealed as... Or no, more make more Rockman. More make Rockman details revealed as pre-orders open in Japan. So this is a Mega Man thing. This is from Kite Stenbuck over at Silicon Era. Now the pre-orders for Make Rockman have started today in Japan. R-Tech has revealed more details on the educational game programming kit based on Capcom's famous Mega Man franchise, including the programming language and software used. The Mega Buster-shaped controller that comes with Make Rockman is based on R-Tech Robo 2.0, a robot programming kit with customizable parts and attachable blocks. Its circuit board has a variety of sensors such as an accelerometer, magnetic compass, and gyro sensor, Although the unit is normally connected to PCs with a USB cable, it can also connect wirelessly to tablets with Bluetooth, as well as communicating with other Artec Robo 2.0 units through Wi-Fi. The programming language used in the kit is Scratch 3.0, which has a beginner-friendly drag-and-drop interface. The resulting code can even be converted into Python afterward. The kit's software will also have a paint tool that lets users directly change Mega Man's colors for his special weapons. The assets needed to program a Mega Man game will be available to download for free on a specific website for educational purposes. It consists of 280 images, 15 BGMs, and 25 sound effects. The pack will also come with 2 minigames featuring Proto Man and Dr. Wily, the latter being a 2-player game. The Mega Buster controller can even be reassembled into Proto Man's shield and Buster or Dr. Wily's joystick to play their respective minigames. Artec has also published a more complete trailer that shows the details of Make Rockman, and you can watch it. So this is a cool little educational game development thing.
Mm-hmm.
I doubt it would see a Western release, but maybe. Who knows?
If anything, I can see this on a Labo bundle. But
Mega Man Labo.
Yeah, I mean, like a cardboard Buster. It's gold, Nintendo and Capcom. Hire me.
Next story is another blue video game character. As Sonic turns 30, Sega plans multiple new games. As Mario turns this is by John Walker for Kotaku. As Mario turns a positive, decrepit 35, the young, sprightly Sonic next year celebrates his 30th birthday. And news has slipped out that Sega is planning to celebrate the anniversary with multiple new Sonic games. It seems an advertisement was sent from Sega to investors that, as well as rather boldly boasting about the success of the Sonic film, went on to suggest a bumper crop of Sonic goodness for next year. A year of celebration, it says, with new games, digital content, events, major announcement, and a tailored licensing program. Who doesn't love a tailored licensing program? That's what the article says, not the...
Yeah.
New Sonic doesn't really have quite the same quick gather the children and break all the piggy banks appeal of new Mario, unless you're blessing Adeoye Jr. But but if you could have any new Sonic, what would you want? A full-on Sonic the Hedgehog 5? Sonic Adventure 3? Yes. That one. Or perhaps that Sonic the Hedgehog sequel you've been desperately waiting for. Don't tease me.
What would I want?
Chow Garden.
Full
Chow Garden. Full 3D Chow Garden.
Sonic Heroes 2. That's what I want.
Kingdom Hearts Melody of Memories is just Kingdom Hearts Sonic Heroes.
I mean...
That's what Cameron Hawkins said.
If it was on rails, maybe.
I mean, it's on a thing.
Yeah.
It's on a track. In other Sonic news, Ninjala's Sonic the Hedgehog collab begins September 23rd, 2020. This is by Jenny Lotto over at Silicon Era. Ninjala's got to go fast this month. That's because the promised Gung Ho Online Entertainment and Sega collaboration is about to launch. Between September 23rd, 2020 and October 21st, 2020, there will be Ninjala Sonic the Hedgehog affair in effect. Expect plenty of costumes you can buy with Jala. To be specific, there will be 3 sorts of Sonic looks you'll be able to rock while playing Ninjala. One is based on Sonic himself. Tails and Knuckles costumes will also be available. Each outfit will be separated into head and body gear, so you can mix and match. For example, there will be hats that look like Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles heads, while body portions will involve t-shirts and hoodies that match their color schemes. Robotnik will also show up, but not as an actual villain. Rather, he'll appear as a Dr. Eggman Gum Utsusemi. It looks like him riding in the Eggmobile H minus the wrecking ball. You can see the items. Okay. So, I'll try to check that out when that comes out.
Does it interest you, or is it like, might be fun?
Yeah, it's like, might be fun. Might as well check it out.
Okay.
Alright, take it away.
Next up, we have Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity announced for Switch. This is by Sal Romano for Amazon. Nintendo and Koei Tecmo have announced Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity for Switch, an action game set 100 years before the events of Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. It will launch on November 20th for $60. Pre-orders for the digital edition include the in-game item Lucky Ladle, which is one of the weapons Link can use. You can equip this for battle, pair it with a pot lid, or fuse it with other weapons to boost your stat. You can click on the article for the full press release and other information. This came out of left field this week, and I'm pretty excited for it. How about you?
Okay, so I'm excited for this, but there seems to be this like stigma with Dynasty Warriors games.
Well, I think the stigma is more with the mainline Dynasty Warrior games, because I mean there have been so many, and they kind of all look alike, that people are probably kind of fed up with them at this point. I mean, the mainstream, the diehard fans are pretty content with the Dynasty Warrior games, hence why there are still so many Dynasty Warrior games.
I think people don't realize that the Warriors games that are usually based on like game franchises are typically a lot better than the regular Dynasty Warriors or the anime-based ones.
I'd like to say,
because they have more.
I'd like to say this. Maybe they're not actually better. Maybe they just connect better with people's taste, because it has.
I feel like the game ones they allow. There's like more of a collaborative effort with like gameplay, because like Dragon Quest Heroes 2 has like an actual like open world JRPG feel to it, but it's still a Dynasty Warriors game rather than just being a simple hack and slash. But
maybe. I mean, I don't think neither of us have played a Dynasty Warrior games in recent times, so maybe it isn't as shallow as we're making it out to be. But what I'm trying to say is, maybe the franchise you connect with is what makes you think that that game is better than, let's say, plain Dynasty Warriors.
Maybe, but my whole thing is like there's a stigma like, oh, it's not a new Zelda, it's a it's a new Hyrule Warriors. I'm like, but it's a new Hyrule Warriors based on Breath of the Wild, and like we'll probably have a decent story.
It is more story focused, because Aonuma said that, or was it Aonuma? I think it was the guy from Koei Tecmo in the video said, we're working closely with the Breath of the Wild team with terms of art and design. So I'm guessing that this will be more of a Breath of the Wild prequel than a Dynasty Warrior with a Zelda skin.
Yeah, like I might actually try this. I didn't even like Breath of the Wild that much, but I might actually try this.
Well,
why not?
I love Breath of the Wild, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to love this one. Yeah, I don't mind Warrior games. I don't mind Musou games. I really like Pirate Warriors 3.
You just can't play them for that long.
I mean,
I mean, at a time.
I mean,
I can't. It'll hurt my eyes after a while.
I put in a lot of time in Pirate Warriors 3. I beat the whole game, so I
really
really don't mind the length or how much carnage is on screen, to say the least. But I think it'll be fun.
Okay.
Yeah. Next up, we have Ninja Gaiden Sigma Trilogy listing briefly appears on GameSource Entertainment's site. This is by Jenny Lada for Silicon Era. We could be seeing another game leak, this time for the Ninja Gaiden series. Hong Kong's GameSource Entertainment temporarily had both Nintendo Switch and PlayStation 4 listings for the Ninja Gaiden Sigma Trilogy online on September 8th, 2020. They have since been pulled, but suggested a compilation would be appearing in the region in March 2021. This supposed collection would, according to the GameSource product pages, give people a new way to play Ninja Gaiden Sigma, Ninja Gaiden Sigma 2, and Ninja Gaiden 3 Razor's Edge. The price for the possible collection was listed as $40, which is really not a bad price. So, I'm pretty stoked for this. Ninja Gaiden 2 was one of the best games on 360, and one of the games I really like playing a lot. Ninja Gaiden 3 less so, but Razor's Edge kind of corrected a lot of the mistakes, so it might still be a fun time.
I've never played any of them.
Wow.
But I'm willing to try.
Wow. I mean, it's more in the vein of Devil May Cry, so
yeah.
But it's a bit more difficult, so be on caution.
Prepared. Next story, a pretty short one. Phantasy Star Online 2 getting Senran Kagura and SSSS Gridman crossovers in Japan. This is from Giuseppe Nelva over at Twinfinite. Today, Sega had news to share about the Japanese version of Phantasy Star Online 2, showing content that hopefully will make it over to the West down the line. We get to see 3 trailers showcasing content in the upcoming updates. You can see them all below. In mid-October, fans will be able to enjoy content from Studio Trigger's popular anime series, SSSS Gridman, which you can see in the 3rd trailer below. This will include Asuka, Homura, Yumi, and Miyabi's costumes, weapon camos, and lobby actions. This will come to the Japanese version of the game in November 2020. At the moment, no images or videos were provided, so they just have the thing in the live stream. Yeah, you can basically be Gridman in Phantasy Star Online 2 in Japan.
Kind of cool.
Meaning that I have to get back into this if it comes to the West.
I see Phantasy Star Online is really like going deep in on the anime connection.
Yeah.
Which might kind of be enticing for my fellow weebs. I mean,
I would love if it carried over.
I mean, I'd even want to try it now, but we'll see if it comes to the West. Next up, we have Bloomberg says Nintendo boosts Switch production orders to as high as 30 million units for fiscal year ending March 2021. This is by Sal Romano for Gamatsu. Nintendo has asked assembly partners to increase production of Switch units to as high as 30 million units for the current fiscal year, which ends on March 31st, 2021, according to a Bloomberg report citing people familiar with the company's strategy. While Nintendo reportedly raised production orders to 25 million units in early August in efforts to keep up with ongoing Switch demand brought about by the success of Animal Crossing New Horizons and the COVID-19 pandemic, the people told Bloomberg that it has proven insufficient, with assemblers now operating at 120%. Okay, first of all, give those assemblers their fair pay. Give them days off.
Raise.
Give them like overtime pay, because 120% is a lot, and assembly is not fun. So
nope.
Let's focus on that first. Secondly, WoW Switch is still selling like hotcakes, which is surprising because you'd think the demand would be going towards next gen, but this is just Nintendo ordering extra units. It's not like people asking for extra units, but seeing as how the hardware keeps selling out, the demand is reasonably high. But this is surprising because there were also rumors that a new updated and more powerful model of the Switch is coming next year. So I'm wondering, are they ordering like a part of that to be the updated model, or is it just the current Switch model? But I guess we'll see next year.
Yeah.
Okay. Next up.
That was that mentioned the 4K thing, right?
Yeah. The Bloomberg report said Nintendo is looking into implementing 4K into the Switch console, or having 4K game run on the Switch, but it's just them looking into it. It's no promise that the next iteration of Switch will have 4K.
Well, weren't they saying they were contacting like developers to be ready?
That's just a rumor. The actual quote is Nintendo is looking into, or was looking into, making 4K games. But you have to remember, 4K is kind of difficult to pull off on current gen.
Yeah.
I mean, you need very powerful hardware, and the hardware to run 4K is not cheap. Even upscaled to 4K is not cheap. The Xbox One Series S would be the cheapest way to get upscaled 4K, or the PlayStation 4 Pro or Xbox One X. And if you had to squeeze that down to a smaller form factor, that would be kind of expensive, and I don't think Nintendo is going down that route. No matter how many people keep asking for 4K on a Nintendo Switch. Okay, next up we have Amazon Australia lists Demon's Souls Remake, Destruction All-Star, Returnal, and Sackboy: A Big Adventure with details, box art, and screenshots. This is by Sal Romano for Gamatsu. Amazon Australia has published listings for Sony Interactive Entertainment published PlayStation 5 titles for the aforementioned games, which includes new details, box art, and screenshots. You can click on the article for the roundup below. Okay, so the big takeaway from all of this is that these games might be more imminent than we previously thought.
Possibly PS5 launch lineup?
Possibly PS5 launch lineup or launch window. So I'm guessing maybe...
Yeah. Which, we don't know what the window means.
Yeah, the window hasn't been defined, but if I'd be guessing, it'd be by March next year, because that's when the fiscal year ends.
Fiscal year, yeah.
Yeah, so that's my best bet. Okay.
So between November and March, probably?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like maybe 2 games a month. Seems reasonable. Okay, we have Xbox Series X launches November 10th for $499, $500 if you will. Pre-orders open September 22nd. This is also by Sal Romano for Gamatsu. Xbox Series X will launch alongside Xbox Series S on November 10th for $499 US, Microsoft announced. Pre-orders for both platforms will open on September 22nd. In addition to a one-time payment, Microsoft announced that users will also be able to purchase Xbox Series X at a monthly rate of about $35 US for 24 months, and Xbox Series S at $25 US a month for 24 months via their Xbox All Access program, which includes 24 months of Xbox Game Pass Ultimate. Yeah, this is really great.
What a great deal.
It is a great deal. You can click on the article if you want a full breakdown of the details, and it also has a nifty hardware comparison if you want to know where you want to spend your dollars.
I'm still getting I plan on getting a Series X. I don't know if I'll get one at launch. Maybe not. I mean, there's a later story that is tempting me to do that. But I'd say I'm doing disc drives and physical copies until they're no longer an option, especially because digital licensing needs to get better first.
Sure, but what about the price tag? Isn't that an issue for you? Doesn't that at least sway you towards the S?
No, because I've never been a fan of the all digital console. I like having both options of being like, I could get something physically or digitally.
So, despite the cheaper price point, you are more willing to spend your money on something that will cost extra if it gives you the option of physical.
Well, plus the backwards compatibility.
I mean, you still have backwards compatibility with the digital games.
I know, but it's again physical. I just like having physical copies when I'm able.
That's what I said, but okay. I'm super interested in the Series S. I'll be losing the ability to use physical media, sure, but with that price point and for about $60 a year for Xbox Game Pass Ultimate, I'm sold. I don't.
Well, and the good thing is you can pay it off in increments.
Well,
right?
if you're in the US or Canada, sure, but not me. I'd still.
I just mean in general.
I'd still have to.
That's a nice thing.
Yeah, I'd still have to pay full dollar for the console. Okay, next up is all you.
Yeah, so Taco Bell is doing an Xbox Series X contest because they've done this stuff before. which begins September 24th, 2020. This is from Siliconera by Jenny Lana. Okay, so Taco Bell is constantly having console contests where you buy food or participate in a giveaway for a chance to get a special system or have a system before you can buy it. Well, it's happening again. Microsoft announced the Taco Bell Xbox Series X contest will kick off in September 2020 and give Taco Bell Rewards beta members and those buying food a chance to win the system, a controller, and 6 months of Xbox Game Pass Ultimate. The earliest way to enter is through the Taco Bell app. People who download that and are in the Taco Bell Rewards beta will be entered every day between September 15th through 21st, 2020. You have to sign up between now and September 13th. If you'd rather not go digital, the general contest opens on September 24th, 2020 and will run until November 4th, 2020. Medium and large drink cups have codes that can be entered by U.S. residents who are 18 and older to try and win the console, controller, and Xbox Game Pass Ultimate subscription. The official site will let people enter without buying anything, though. Oh, that's nice. Each person can enter between 1 to 3 times per day. The Xbox Series X and Xbox Series S will launch it. Oh, yeah, okay. It's nice that you can enter the contest and you don't even have to go to a Taco Bell.
Yeah. Are you gonna do it, or are you just gonna...
I mean, I've done it with the other... did I do it with like a PlayStation 4? I did it with other things before. And I was like, why not? It's not like I lose anything if I don't win. Like, I mean, you know what I mean? Like, okay, I don't get a free Xbox or anything, but I mean, like, it's not like, oh, now since you didn't win, you're not allowed to get an Xbox or something crazy. So, like, maybe. I haven't had Taco Bell in a long time. And the next story is, and this is the reason I'm thinking about getting a Series X at launch because I want a physical copy of this game. Yakuza 7 coming to Xbox Series X on November 10th. The beloved series comes to next gen first, shifting its release date forward for Xbox Series X and Series S. This is by me for GameSkinny. Yakuza 7, also known as Yakuza Like a Dragon, will be heading to Xbox Series X and Xbox Series S on November 10th, the same day as the next gen Xbox consoles launch. The new launch date is 3 days earlier than Yakuza 7's release date for PlayStation 4, Xbox One, I almost said one Xbox.
Jeez.
And PC on November 13th. Previously, it had been stated that Yakuza 7 would release for the Xbox Series X sometime in November 2020 without a solid date, noting that it would be a launch game for the new console. I need to actually change that because there's a typo there. Yakuza 7 originally launched for PlayStation 4 in Japan on January 16, 2020, where it's known as Ryuga Gotoku 7. There are typos in this. Hikari, my editor did not. Hikari to Yame no Yukue, Like a Dragon 7, Whereabouts of Light and Darkness. It stars new main character Ichiban Kasuga rather than the previous series protagonist Kazuma Kiryu. Another notable feature of Yakuza 7 is its departure from the more familiar beat-em-up style gameplay of the series, instead going for a turn-based RPG battle system complete with a four-person party, assists, summons, and even different jobs characters can obtain. Partially due to Ichiban Kasuga being a huge fan of the Dragon Quest series, with these battles showing one of the ways he views the world. PlayStation 5 version has also been confirmed, but it is currently unknown when it will release. Yeah. So hopefully there's a bundle. Or that's what I'm hoping. There's a Yakuza Like a Dragon bundle. That would be great.
So you said earlier that if this comes out, it's enough to make you consider getting an Xbox Series X.
3 days earlier than all the other
why
versions.
not just wait till next year? If you're not into buying a console at launch, why not just wait till next year? Because Yakuza 7 is still gonna be around.
I kind of want to get an Xbox at launch so I have more access to Game Pass too, because I already have Game Pass.
Okay, sure. If you put it like that.
Like, I'm gonna get both eventually anyway.
Yeah.
I don't normally get consoles at launch, but this year might be an exception. Oh yeah, we didn't put anyone. Yeah, I need to drink some water after that.
Okay, I'll take this one. No More Heroes 3 delayed to 2021. This is by Sal Romano for Gamatsu. Developer Grasshopper Manufacture has delayed No More Heroes 3 from its previously planned 2020 release window to 2021, citing unforeseen delays in development as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. It will be available for Switch when it launches. The developer also announced that it has signed on comic book artist and The Boys co-creator Derek Robertson to provide illustrations for No More Heroes 3. Director Goichi Suda51 Suda shared Robertson's first piece for the game titled Dimsum Tiger and His Master. You can check the article for the full statement. Kind of a bummer, but yeah, it's a bit unavoidable given the current global situation. So best wishes to the team. Next up is all you.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that that's delayed, but you know it's whatever. I mean, hopefully we get the rumored re-releases before it comes out.
Sure, but you know
we haven't heard about that for a while. I think those were just rumored, right?
Yeah. We'll see.
Yeah, so I wonder if that's like a December thing that we just haven't revealed yet.
I mean, there are more.
Because it could be.
Are more partner directs for the year, so it might still be coming.
So it's possible. Okay. Anyways, moving on to the next story. Pac-Man Geo announced for iOS and Android. Pac-Man goes geographic. That sounds weird. By Sal Romano over at Gamatsu. Bandai Namco has announced Pac-Man Geo, a geographic information game due out for iOS via the App Store and Android via Google Play in September in 170 countries as a free-to-play title with in-app purchases. Here's an overview of the game. Pac-Man Geo will allow players to experience the real world as the yellow guy himself in this geographic information game. New York, Paris, Tokyo make a Pac-Man maze by choosing from a variety of real-world streets. Go for the high score on unique real-world streets and collect landmarks from famous places all over the world, even from the comfort of home. Pac-Man is at last hitting the streets of the real world. So it's kind of like a Pac-Man Go type thing, only you don't really have to go anywhere.
Yeah. Are you interested in this?
I just thought it was an interesting concept. I like Pac-Man. It's just I'll try. It's free. I'll try it.
Okay.
Next story. D3 Publisher announces TGS 2020 online lineup and live stream plans. Earth Defense Force 6, World Brothers, and Magnum Lord. This is once again by Sal Romano over at Gamatsu. D3 Publisher has announced its lineup of games and live stream plans for Tokyo Game Show 2020 online, which will run from September 23rd to 27th. Earth Defense Force 6. Oh, lineup. Earth Defense Force 6, Earth Defense Force World Brothers.
That's a lot of
and Magnum Lord. It's only 2. It'll be on September 26th at 9:30 Japanese Standard Time. It will be called D3P Broadcast Saves the Square Earth Livestream. Because everything in World Brothers is square. The latest games from D3 Publisher will be introduced, including a long-anticipated latest entry in the Earth Defense Force series, Earth Defense Force World Brothers, and the new and popular Magnum Lord. There will be a ton of information shared for the first time, including a certain title that everyone is curious about. Please look forward to it. Yeah, so it would be good to get more info on EDF6. Because so far we know that it's something weird happened, and they're like a lot of soldiers are missing or gone, and then also there are dragons.
I mean, dragons,
aliens that look like dragons.
I'm sold.
Yeah,
that's all you have to say.
They've had these things before, apparently. But yeah.
Okay. Next up, we have Bandai Namco announces TGS 2020 online lineup live stream plans. This is by Sal Romano for Gamatsu. Bandai Namco has announced its lineup of games and live stream plans for Tokyo Game Show 2020 online, which will run from September 23rd to 27th. Get the details below. So you can click on the article for a full lineup. Do you want me to list them?
Wasn't that long? Oh, the notable thing was Tabeoja wasn't on there.
Yeah. Captain Tsubasa, Dragon Ball Z Kakarot, Jump Force Deluxe Edition, Kamen Rider, Katamari Damacy Reroll, Little Nightmares 2, Mini 4-Wheel Drive Hyper Dash Grand Prix, Mobile Suit Gundam Extreme vs. Maxi Boot on Maxi Boost, not Maxi Boot. Project Cars
Maxi
3,
Boot.
Pro Yakyu Famista 2020, Scarlet Nexus, and Sword Art Online Alicization Licorice, and Sword Art Online Alicization
Licorice?
Yeah, Licorice. Rising Steel. So
the interesting thing about this is most of these are out already. The handful aren't. So Kamen Rider is upcoming, Little Nightmares 2 is upcoming, Scarlet Nexus, and I don't know if the mobile games are out or not. And then Reroll.
The mobile game.
Reroll is on Switch.
The mobile game is out. Sword Art Online is out. Jump Force Deluxe Edition, if I'm not mistaken, already.
No, I meant Mini 4WD Hyper Dash Grand Prix or whatever.
I don't think so.
I have no clue. I've never heard of it.
Jump Force Deluxe Edition, if I'm not mistaken, already dropped, but because it's recent, they probably want to showcase that. And there's also some DLC left for the Jump Force game. Kakarot also has some DLC left, and I'm guessing Tsubasa might be getting DLC, or they just want to showcase it because it's pretty recent. Yeah, that's...
Tabeoja was Bandai Namco, wasn't it?
Probably. But maybe they're saving that for another showcase. Who knows?
It's too powerful. It needs its own thing.
Sure. Okay, next up we have Pocky and Rocky 2021 coming west in 2021. I mean, it's kind of redundant, but okay. Sal Romano for Gamatsu. Natsume will publish the newly announced shoot-'em-up sequel, Pocky and Rocky 2021 working title, developed by Natsume Atari's Tango project team in the West in 2021. The company announced. Neither Natsume or Natsume Atari have officially announced platforms, but the initial announcement in this week's issue of Weekly Famitsu lists the game for Switch. And the quote reads, "We are very excited to be working together with Natsume Atari and its Tango project team to bring the latest chapter of the series to the West," said Natsume President and CEO Hiro Maekawa in a press release. And a quote follows, "Pocky and Rocky 2021 is a sequel that will be released more than 2 decades after the release of the original title for the SNES. We hope that Pocky and Rocky 2021 will not only cater to fans who used to play the game, but also to new players," which is kind of great news for me because I love the Pocky and Rocky game on SNES, and this is just music to my ears.
I've heard it's pretty difficult.
It's doable. I mean,
I've never played them, but I've seen people play them.
I think you can compare it to a shoot 'em up.
Yeah, that's what I've heard people say.
So it's kind of that in terms of difficulty. So I think it's fine. Okay. Next.
There are a lot of the Pocky and Rocky fans just came out of the woodwork though when this was announced.
So there aren't just dozens of us. I'm so happy. Okay, next up we have the Nintendo Switch has sold over 15 million units in Japan. This is by Kazuma Hashimoto for Silicon Era. The Nintendo Switch has sold over 15 million units in Japan as of the month of September. This data has been gathered over the approximate time of 3 years and 6 months, according to Famitsu. Again, these numbers are purely in relation to domestic sales in Japan. Other information regarding how many units the Switch has sold cumulatively internationally has not been listed or disclosed in the aforementioned article. Estimated sales for the Nintendo Switch are 15 plus million units. Okay. Additionally, Famitsu included cumulative, is that right? Cumulative? Sales for Animal Crossing New Horizons in the article. As it stands, New Horizons has sold over 5.6 million units domestically. So that's for Japan. Which is really great considering everything. Considering Japan kind of is veering away from consoles, or was veering away from consoles. I think it's all thanks to the Switch's portability. You can play it on your commute. You can play it in your small space or living space. So, yeah. Nintendo Switch for the win.
All right, so
final news story.
And other news with Nintendo. New Nintendo leak includes several unreleased Game Boy games. This is from Ian Walker over at Kotaku. Nintendo's official release schedule may be a little thin, but the hits keep coming in the form of data leaks. The latest batch, which some have dubbed Giga Leak 3, involves a huge lot check dump of Game Boy and Game Boy Color games that were either finished or close to being finished and sent off to Nintendo for internal certification. As such, the leak includes a variety of complete games that were cancelled or otherwise unreleased. This leak, which first appeared on 4chan yesterday morning, is said to include ROMs of the entirety of the Game Boy and Game Boy Color lineups. Jeez. Wait, that doesn't make sense. That can't be right. Folks are still digging through this data, but the most interesting finds involve fully playable versions of games that were never officially released. Game Boy Color's Pokemon Picross, for instance, was promoted in several Japanese gaming magazines in 1999, but would never actually see release. The thread below includes a bunch of screenshots and gameplay details. And you can even listen to the start menu had a remix of the Red and Green Pokemon Red and Green theme. Another big find revolves around an early Alpha Dream game known as Gimmick Land. Development finished near the tail end of the Game Boy Color's lifespan, but it was never released due to the launch of the Game Boy Advance. Alpha Dream would go on to rework the game into a spiritual reboot, Tomato Adventure, for the new handheld, and soon after create Nintendo's famous Mario and Luigi series. The leak also includes a Hello Kitty game that would have supposedly worked with the Game Boy printer, Hello Kitty Pocket Camera, but there's not that much to... And there's various developers were also working on handheld ports of Famicom and Super Famicom games, including Mega Man board game Rock Board, point-and-click adventure Hajimari no Mori, a character from which apparently recently appeared in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, and the Satellaview puzzle game Sute Hakun. Perhaps the most excited are all the English localizations that were apparently finished but never officially released outside of Japan. The most notable include the Game Boy Color's versions of Gargoyle's Quest II and Legend of the Sea King, a handheld spin-off of the popular The Legend of River King series. It's like a fishing game. But if you're curious how many of these games play, French software developer Luigi Blood recently hosted a 3-hour live stream on Twitch showing off some of their finds. So that's pretty crazy.
Yeah. Alright.
I need to check all that out because that's kind of awesome. Okay, so now we're moving on to the main topic, and we're going to go a little overtime, but whatever. We had a lot of news to cover. So, I finished the Fairy Tail game.
Mm-hmm.
Jason here has finished the Fairy Tail series.
The manga, to be specific.
No filler.
Yeah, no filler.
So we're just going to talk about Fairy Tail in general.
I did read the side stories, which have been adapted into the anime. So, in essence, I have seen some filler.
So for the game, my impressions, I thought it was, and I think I said this last week, but it's like a decent start to like an anime JRPG series. Like, there's stuff they need to flesh out because it's kind of like I've said before, it's kind of a lower budget title with how some of the character models look, some of the enemies, and some other stuff that isn't like... Oh, so now I can say this. So remember how I was alluding to somebody had a form that didn't look right?
Come again?
Like how I was like alluding to there was a character who they had this certain special form, and when you did it in the game, it didn't look quite right.
You mean Sting?
No, Sting was just he had a weird facial expression sometimes.
Okay.
No, Gajiel's Iron Shadow Dragon mode didn't look the way it was supposed to.
Okay.
He just had a shadowy aura rather than like the iron, you know, what he actually looks like.
Yeah. I mean, it might be just a question of it being difficult to pull off in a 3D space. Cause
I mean, maybe, but Mira Jane has all her stuff.
Sure, but I mean, not everything translates well from 2D to 3D. So
yeah, like Sting's face.
I mean, that's not a hero.
Yeah, Happy would look weird sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
But and then the other thing is, like, I like how there's the grid system, and you actually have to. There's a little bit of thinking involved with at first when fights are kind of difficult, but like fights get a lot easier over time. The best part, I think, were the boss fights. Just because even though I was on normal difficulty, they was still like they could still be challenging, and some of them had little quirks to them. Like the gray and silver fight, you had to, if there was like a part of it where you had to destroy a box to get an object from it to put in to mix with your ice magic, or else none of your magic would work on him, and then after a while he just raised his attack up a lot, and then you would die in like one hit.
So you kind of have to take into account environmental objects.
Well, that's the only boss fight that's like that.
Okay.
That's why I say, like, it has these good ideas that it doesn't it doesn't fully go with. That's why I think a sequel with a higher budget could be like really good.
But to be clear, we're just guessing that it's a lower budget.
Yeah, we're just guessing
that they're rocking.
We're just guessing
because I mean, it might as well be that they had all the budget they needed, but due to time
like it still looks decent. It's just like, it's just like certain things don't feel like all the side quests are pretty much the same. Go attack these enemies to get this item, or go attack these types of enemies in this area, and every single one is like that. I mean, but there's no real variation, and the enemies are all the same.
I think that could also be said of any RPG.
I know, but like but these are in different areas, like, and they don't even, a lot of them, they don't even have like palette swaps. There aren't even that many of.
I think the thing is the repetition is present in every RPG, but it varies in degrees. Like some have you switching between sceneries more often, or some have different music to accompany the battles that kind of make them move.
Oh, that's the other problem.
Yeah,
there was not enough different music either.
Okay, what did you think of the story presentation? Because I see a lot of people complaining, or I've seen in the reviews at least, that the people have been complaining that the presentation is kind of like, oh, it's just dialogue, not a cutscene.
Yeah, they kind of skipped over too much. And like sometimes it will show like pictures of a thing that happened, and then it just moves on to the next thing.
Kind of like a slideshow instead of actual presentation of a story.
Pretty much.
Yeah, that's unfortunate, but that's kind of what happens in licensed games. Like My Hero has it. The Ultimate Ninja Storm
that's why I go by Jenny Lada's review. Like, you don't want to play Fairy Tail unless you're already a fan, just because of where it starts and the stuff it leaves out. And
sure.
But like, I liked the game. Like in general, I thought the gameplay was, decent. It could have been a lot worse.
But would you?
The story presentation not great. It just got boring after a while. But like I said, the boss fights were like the key thing for me.
So it's sounding like you wouldn't recommend it to someone else.
I would not.
Okay.
Like, I'd recommend it to you maybe when it's on sale, since you've read the series now.
Yeah.
But otherwise, if you like JRPGs, you probably want to play a different game.
But me having read the series, I'm left wondering, okay, but what's the added bonus of playing the game? Like, okay, the characters are come to life, sure.
You get to play as the characters. You get to play events from the series. You get really cool boss fight. Again, that was the standout thing to me.
Okay. What was I gonna say? Oh yeah, have you seen Spellbreak recently come out?
I've seen that. I needed to try it.
Okay, so
our boss is playing it right now.
So the thing about Spellbreak and its battle system is kind of how I started envisioning how a fairy tale game might look like. Because I think the game would be better served if it was an action adventure RPG instead of a traditional turn-based RPG where you have to think on your feet and use your magic effectively. Like create matchups between you and your partner or you and your team against your against the villains or the antagonists.
Oh, like unison raid and stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So like you exploit weaknesses and.
I mean, you did still do that.
Yeah, but in a turn-based manner. I'd like to see it more active, more reactionary.
Yeah. No, I completely understand that.
Kind of have
like the weakness, like it was the weakness system never seemed to matter that much. Like it helped, but it didn't.
Like you could still steamroll through the enemies.
Yeah, something being resistant didn't necessarily mean you might have a little trouble with the enemy, but you still most of the time be able to get through them. But yeah, so I liked it, but I don't think I'm gonna play get the extra characters or the DLC or whatever, especially because for whatever reason, so Loxus and Mira Jane, even though they're playable in certain parts of the story, you can't unlock them until post game.
Maybe stats wise they're
doesn't make that much sense.
Strong. That's what I'm guessing.
Those aren't the characters I would have put for post game characters.
I mean, stat wise,
I would have put Jalal and I would have put Jalal, Ichiya, and Kagura, who you can all get before the final chapter.
In terms of strength, Ichiya isn't all that strong. He's crafty with his perfumes.
I know. That's why you have him as a bonus character, because who wants to play as Ichiya?
I mean, Jalal after his memory came back, or after he lost his memory,
is Jalal well, you play pre or post time skip Jalal, so yeah.
No, it doesn't matter. It's post amnesia Jalal.
Yeah, I guess it's post memory, whatever.
He wasn't on the same power level as his villain Jalal self. So in terms of strength, or at least in how they were presented in the manga, Mira Jane and Loxus are pretty much on top of the power ranking. Of course, you have.
I would love a. Oh, of course. No, go on.
No, I was going to say. Continue. Of course, you have by the end of the manga, Natsu and Urza and Gray having power levels beyond
the main crew.
Yeah, it's kind of the Naruto and the Dragon Ball problem where the main characters level up so far ahead of the rest of the team that it kind of breaks all of the systems.
I mean, especially with what you learn about them, because they all gain new powers, or you find out that's why they're that.
Yeah, so essentially it would just basically be gods versus humans. Yeah, and kind of makes it less interesting.
Urza's the daughter of a dragon slayer. Gray now has the devil slayer magic. Natsu is a demon, kind of.
No, he's a dragon slayer still. Not. It's a bit complicated, but by the end he's just Natsu, the dragon slayer.
Yeah, because they don't fully explain how all of that. I do wonder about the game, how much input Hiro Mashima had, because he is known to be a big Final Fantasy fan. So I wonder if he wanted to. I wonder if he wanted this game to be turn-based, or
it could be
how all that worked.
It could be, but I think he probably had more to do with the direction of the game, how the characters are animated or designed, what costumes they be wearing, how a character acts with regards to their teammates or the villains. I think that's more what he'd be doing, more like a supervisory role, not a game director role, because original creators typically don't have that much power when it comes to the games.
Yeah, I had more to say about it, but I finished it last week and just forgot to write stuff down. I'm trying to remember the other stuff.
You gotta have a notebook handy, man. Okay, maybe.
I mean, I have. Yeah, maybe I should have written it down. I have.
Maybe this will help. Who's your favorite Fairy Tail member?
Well, it says on the thing. Probably Gajeel.
Mm-hmm. What?
Because those were questions to ask you on the document.
I can just ask you, but what's your favorite thing about Gajeel? What makes him stand out from the rest?
Very Vegeta-like, in a way, to me.
Fair. Oh.
He starts out as a villain, and then he...
kind of warms up.
And then he moves to... he moves to Fairy Tail.
Yeah.
After Phantom Lord basically disbands.
Yeah.
And he... he's basically been able to redeem himself the most out of... the former villains, I think.
Yeah, that's true. Let's see.
I also just I like the Iron Shadow Dragon form too. As soon as he got that, I was like, oh my god.
No, I get it. Let's see. Who is my favorite Fairy Tail member? If I had to choose, I'd choose two. That would be Happy and Lucy.
Really?
Yeah. Usually I go for the main character because I'm pretty basic like that. But
I mean, Lucy is technically kind of the main character. It's very weird how Fairy Tail does it. Like, Natsu and Lucy are both the main characters.
No, I'd say Natsu is first billing and Lucy is second billing. So that's how I'd rank it. But Lucy is my favorite character because she kind of gets the more meaty scenes in the series. I
really don't think she has that great of magic, to be honest.
No, but I like it enough.
It's like I like it after the second time skip, where she actually has the when she summons them, she has like the outfits
where she
to
turns
match.
into a magical girl.
Yeah, pretty much. Because it's like, okay, now you're actually doing something.
I think I like her pre second time skip because it creates limitations. Like, she is from the start at a physical disadvantage in every battle. So she has to be...
She just has a whip.
She has a whip, sure, but she has to be more creative with her magic and with her abilities when it comes to battling other characters. And sometimes she doesn't come out on top, and sometimes she does. And I think that's what makes her appealing. And I think Happy is also one of my favorite characters because he just brings this joy and humor to the series that sometimes comes as unexpected and sometimes as heart-wrenching, because Happy might look like the mascot, but he has some of the best scenes in the series.
Oh yeah.
And I'd hate to make this comparison, but he's on par with Tony Chopper. When it comes to...
Oh no.
I said it. Come at me.
You need to watch more One Piece before you can make that statement.
No. I've seen enough One Piece, but I'm saying he might just look like a mascot character, but he also has touching scenes and humorous scenes that make him feel more like an actual character. Like
okay, that's what you're saying. You're not saying he's necessarily... I don't think he's better than Chopper.
No, I'm not saying he's better than Chopper. God forbid.
You're saying... you're just comparing like it's similar to... Okay,
I'm just comparing. Settle down.
Yeah, I see that. No, I get that.
Okay.
It's too bad he didn't train. He just ate fish, and then Carla had transformation magic.
But that's part of the charm. Who would be your favorite non-fairy tale
member? Probably Jalal.
If I had to choose, it would probably be Urtir or Yortir or Urtir.
Oh, Ultir.
Is it Ul? Because in the manga it's Yortir.
In the anime and I've always seen it written Ultir. I mean, she's Ur's daughter, so it would make sense to be Urtir, but you can say Ultir, either one.
Okay.
Ultir is just easier to say.
I'll go with Yortir.
So that's why I say it.
Urtir.
Urtir.
I mean, she starts as a very nasty villain, but at the end she has this tragic reconciliation with what she's done in her life and what she could have done with her life. And
during the Dragon King arc, right?
Yeah, at the end, it's just so sad that she spoilers, she ends as an old lady.
Unless she comes back for a second later.
Well,
that was weird.
in a manner of speaking, yes, but
yeah,
I think it just makes it a bit tragic and bittersweet, and I like that. Okay, yeah. Favorite villain.
For me, that's a hard one. Like I would say Jalal again, but that doesn't make, because I think it's just more because of his redemption that I'm saying that. So I'm like, that makes it harder. I'm like, maybe I do like Cobra. Actually, you know what? I might switch Jalal for my favorite villain and then Cobra for my favorite non-fairy tale member.
Okay.
Because I really like, I don't know, something about like Cobra's design I really like. And he gets to fly on a big snake. And I really like the Natsu versus Cobra fight.
Yeah. Let's see.
So I'm not sure between Jalal and Cobra, but otherwise, all the fairy tale villains, I don't really, none of them like really stand out to me.
To me, it would be, or for me, it would be Irene Belserion, Ursa's mother.
Really?
Because the way she got treated during her normal life was
her flashback.
Yeah, her flashback was very ugly, and that turned her into a very ugly character. But at the end, where she reveals what actually happened when she, spoilers, left Ursa for adoption, was kind of heartbreaking. And she got to smile at her daughter at the end, which was very touching to me. And all of this is very surprising because Mashima doesn't really plan that far ahead when he does his series. At least he didn't really with Fairy Tail, but it was kind of cool to see he was able to pull that off. Okay, next up, favorite magic.
That's hard.
Yeah.
That's really hard. I don't know why I wrote that.
I mean, I'd say... this is hard because the thing is, Fairy Tail doesn't have a hard magic system. So everything is pretty loosey-goosey in terms of what a character can and can't do.
But in the way, I kind of like that. Like, I like there are so many different types of magic that are like similar but not so similar. You know what I mean?
If I had to compare
like Mikau
it
has
would
fire, but it's different than Natsu's fire.
Yeah, if I had to describe it, it would be on par with Dragon Ball's abilities. Like, everyone can do so much, and it's never properly explained how it relates to the other thing. It just sometimes happens to be stronger than another thing. Okay, if I had to choose, I'd say Lucy's celestial magic.
Really?
Yeah, because the celestial world is also super fun and interesting to look at. Kind of reminds me of Mario Galaxy. So, and I feel that wasn't super fleshed out. Like, it could have been explored more. It might have been explored in the 100-Year Quest manga. I don't know, so I haven't read that yet. Can't tell.
I don't think they've gotten to a point like done anything with that yet.
Yeah, but that would be my favorite.
This is still hard. Like, I like Rogue's shadow magic. I don't like Gajio's iron magic that much, actually.
Yeah.
Mira Jane, duh.
Oh, Mira Jane's pretty cool. I also like
demon takeover, really cool.
Levi McGarden's ability, where she
Levy,
or Levy, where she has kind of reader magic, where she
the words and they turn into the actual thing. Yeah, that's actually kind of that's why I kind of want, like, if this Fairy Tail game got a sequel, I'd want them to expand so you could be like all of the Fairy Tail characters, even the ones who don't really get to fight as much, like, you know, like Wakaba or Macau or Warrod or
like,
oh god, what's his name?
Like, I want to
Meist or whatever.
Like, I want to say make it a Musou game, but
that's too obvious.
There are too many obvious One Piece comparisons with this series, so maybe don't do that. But a more grounded action adventure game. I'm
just saying, like, it would be good to play as more characters that, like, maybe didn't really get fight scenes in the later arcs.
Yeah, I think maybe the thing that they could have done is make more game original stories.
And then you could have even do the side quests, well, how do you level these guys up? Oh, well, you do side quests with, like, some of the main characters and then some of these side characters, and then that's how you level the side or something. I don't know.
Yeah, because what's really surprising about Fairy Tail is that Mashima balances it really well, because in one volume or one arc he can have, like, these 5 characters have the spotlight, and in the next arc he'll say, like, okay, you know, I'll put them on the bench and I'll put other people in the spotlight, and that was really cool.
Levy got way more, like, a little more. I mean, I know sometimes she's just kind of like Gagio's sidekick, but still, like, she was more important sometimes than I would have expected.
Yeah. So that's cool. Next up, we have favorite arc. Which is your favorite
arc? Well, mine is 2 arcs because they go directly, like, into each other. So I'd say, like, Grand Magic Games / Dragon King Festival. Just because, 1, it's the tournament arc. 2, I love the how they get Jalal
to be
like
on their side.
Mystigan. Yeah. Even though they found out, but still, like, that was just a neat little Easter egg type thing. And then just the Raventail thing was weird because it's like, yeah, they're just in this arc and then they'll leave and then they're never coming back.
Yeah, I expected more from Raventail. That was kind of surprising. Because
you would think the anti-Fairy Tail Guild would have a little more importance.
Well, Phantom Lure is actually the anti-Fairy Tail Guild. I don't know if you've seen the prequel, Fairy Tail Zero. It was also adapted in the anime.
Yeah,
but that establishes Phantom Lord as the anti-Fairy Tail. And I guess Raventail.
Yeah.
Oh well.
I don't know.
If I had to say my favorite arcs, gosh, I want to say everything, because everything was so imaginative and so fun. Like, say what you will.
Yeah, I don't think any of the. I honestly don't think any of the non-filler arcs are bad necessarily, except for the last arc. I didn't really like, but that's just because how power levels work how they don't work. I don't know.
Like, say what you will of Mashima's writing, he keeps a consistent tone of Fairy Tail being fun, and I greatly appreciate that.
True.
And that's why I kind of want to say every arc is kind of my favorite arc. Like, the whole series is pretty good and enjoyable. Like, the Grand Magic
if you had to choose one.
If I had to choose one, Grand Magic Games.
Okay.
Yeah, because that's where you
on the same page,
where you see Fairy Tail lose, like really lose for the first time.
But they still win.
And
later.
They eventually still win. But yeah, I'd say that arc is my favorite. Also because Mashima was able to be inventive with the games they'd be playing and how it all played out with so many characters, because we forget that his cast of characters is ginormous, and he balances it all reasonably well.
What are you saying about like tone? I love how the thing with the Grand Magic games, it goes from like kind of like fun with like some kind of darker moments, and there's like obviously there's something lurking, kind of like the DBZ World Tournament, but like there's some lurking evil or something, and then it goes to kind of dark with like the future stuff with all the dragons and stuff, and then after Ultir's Sacrifice it goes to like more hopeful, and you can it actually like shows that in the fairy tale openings for the 3 fairy tale openings during those arcs too.
Okay.
Some of my favorite anime openings, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I think we've established.
I think that's about it. We didn't get any listener questions this week, I don't think. Let me check real quick. I don't think we did.
Okay, that's fine. We've gone long enough. People are probably sick of our voices. So I think we should be signing off for this week. We've had fun. This has been Erroll. This has been Jason. We're rounding out. Signing off. We're saying good night. Good luck. Be safe. Matane. Be safe. Wash your hands. Social distance.
Wear a mask.
And try to enjoy yourselves while you can.
Have
fun. Okay. Good night, everybody.